Hello, let's talk about brakes today. Well, this is my 2008 Infiniti M45 Sport, and I've always tried to do modifications that were not just good looking, but also functional and useful. So some time back, well, it was time to change my brakes, and I decided to go to this braking system. This is a sport system. It's the one that came in the G37 Sport, and it's commonly known as the Akebono BBK. BBK means big brake kit. And for the 2006 through 2010 Infiniti M's, the compatible system would be that one from a G37 Sport and the like. Dimensions just work better. Something about the rear rotor. But when I was doing the swap and during future drives, I feel like I could tell that there was a difference in weight. So I wanted to know, how much weight did I gain? Because just like the name says, big brake kit, you end up getting larger rotors, and this one right here is the standard M45 Sport or base. They'll use the same front rotor, rear rotor. And that's what I went to, G37 Sport, front rotor, rear rotor. So I wanted to know, how much weight did I gain, right? So I wanted to document this, and I bought new rotors for testing purposes so that we would all be able to see this together. Okay, let's start with the front one. This is a stock rotor from an M45. Not exactly light, but all right, 21.8. I'd actually got my paperwork ready because I wanted to do this together with all of us. M45 stock, 21.8 pounds. I'm gonna take note of these. All right, let's put this one back. Make sure it goes back to 0, and it does. And then when I got the G37, how much weight I gained up front. Whoa, that's heavy. All right, well, we'll write it down, 30.2. All right, so that's the weight penalty I took for a better looking braking system. I'll be honest, functionally, your stock brakes work just fine, but I did that kind of for looks. I don't track my car, so I wasn't really going to gain any benefit. So as you can see here, there was a little bit of a weight gain. So I was doing my calculations, trying my best, trying to see how I could go back and basically lose weight so I could go back to something a little lighter. Enter two-piece rotors like this one right here. So they say you gain, or rather you lose, there's like a 10 pound advantage. So I wanted to weigh them myself. All brand new rotors. They want to just go by printed data. I wanted to see how much it's going to be. All right. So it's a two-piece rotor compatible with a big brake kit. All right. Okay, let's weigh that. That's 0. Feels lighter, I'll tell you that. Nice. Look at that. It's actually lighter than the stock one. But this is just part of 20.4. That's good. I'll take that. All right. So I've read or heard about arguments that say that you shouldn't bother with the rear because the rears are generally pretty light, and I wanted to weigh that as well. I don't just go by speculation. As long as I have the time and the resources to do it, I'm just going to weigh it. It is really light. The stock one is. All right, 13.2. Then once I went to the BBK, boy, that one's heavy. It is heavy. Wow. 10.8. Okay, so going to BBK, and that definitely had a little bit of a weight gain. And let's see what happens when I get this two-piece. So this is just what, 6.6, right? $16.2. Okay, so this is I like the numbers that I'm seeing. You know, this is pretty good, and the numbers here, the differences are slightly different compared to what you usually see on the internet. As I said, they usually talk about a 10-pound advantage here and a 5-pound advantage over here, and as you can see, this one is just a little more than 10, which is good. We like that. This one here doesn't quite cut mustard, right? So, what does this experiment mean to us? What should we take from this? Weight by itself weight by itself matters, right? But we're not going to fuss about, a few measly pounds on the front and the rear. But what happens is that rotational mass, the moment of inertia, basically, whenever you have a heavier object spinning, there is a relation that says for every pound on the corners, or every pound of rotating mass is equivalent to about, you hear numbers from 2 all the way to 10 of static mass. In that, if I increased my weight, my front weight, by 1 pound, it's like I put a 10-pound sack in the trunk. So those numbers we'll calculate. This is just an introduction video. I just wanted to see if it's even worth doing this, but we'll talk about those numbers in better detail a little later. But the diameter matters, right? So a smaller one, maybe there might not be that much of an effect on the smaller diameters of the rear, but with larger diameters like in the front, we might have gained so much, or rather we might have, the fact that it's a little lighter than stock than this one here, but it's larger in diameter, I might end up actually just a little heavier with regards to equivalent mass. But so those are things, or equivalent weight. Those are things we'll be talking about later. But for now, I just wanted to kind of get that going, and we'll break down the math later. I'll be doing it. If you're interested, you can watch it. But I'll be breaking down exactly what that equates to in real life. And while I'm here, I'm actually going to take measurements. Let me do this. I'm going to take measurements. Okay, call that 14. Call that 12-ish. This one here should be 14 as well. The diameters don't usually change. Okay, and on the larger one, oh well, need to kind of get in there a little better. While on the front one, I think I'll find these, 12 and a half. I was gonna say I was gonna find the numbers somewhere else. Interesting. I guess it's just a matter of the sandwiching, right? In millimeters, the numbers are different. As you can see, the front ones are a 2-piece with veins in the middle, and then here it is also a 2-piece. It's just that it's a lot thinner. So, and obviously, some people would have noticed that it's not an exact apples to apples comparison. This is the best I can do. I would have loved for one to get all blank faces throughout, but the 2-piece, at least when they sell them assembled, they only come with the sprinkle slotted one. So that's all I could get. I would have loved to get blank faces. And 2, the brands are different, but I'm doing it with, this is what I would have bought. I would have loved to buy the same brand of rotors all through, but if I were to use regular standard rotors, I would have gone for Duralast Gold. If I were to go with the G37 Sport, I would have gone for Duralast Gold as well. Duralast Gold obviously does not make that, so it's more like this is what I would buy if I were doing the change. All right. So I hope this video is helpful in one way or another. Gives you at least an idea. I think if I come back here with a well formatted video and with my numbers, maybe we'll have a different kind of discussion. But for now, this is good enough for me.